Hey drummers, a massive welcome, and I'm very, very excited to introduce Stu Warmington from the British Drum Company. Stu has kindly agreed to come on and talk about the amazing drums that they've designed for the pipe band world. So Stu, a massive welcome.
No, thanks for having me. It's great. Looking forward to it.
Bright and early in the UK there. Fantastic to see you up so early on a Saturday morning to talk about drums.
I wouldn't say bright, but it's definitely early.
Great stuff. Well, hey, I just wanted to know a little bit more, and I'm sure everybody else would like to know. So as someone who's running and managing the marching division there at the British Drum Company, I'd love to know a little bit more about your background as a drummer and how you came into this role.
Okay, so where do I start? I was a young age, like anybody else. And, we've spoken about this before between me and you, James. Like anybody else, you go to your grandma's kitchen, you get some pots and pans out, you get some wooden sticks, and you're playing around an imaginary drum kit. And I found out from a very early age, lots of drums wasn't for me. Yeah, I didn't have that coordination. Even when as young as 5 or 6, I knew I couldn't do it. So one drum was good enough for me, and which was great for my father because he was a drum major in the military. So it was just it was a natural progression that everything he did I followed and looked up to, and that's what stemmed me into the military in the first place. And then wanting to be in the best drum corps in the military, I joined the Royal Marines, which are synonymous to perfection and being slick and all the rest of it. And I joined them in '97, and I left 22 years later. And I can only describe it as it was a paid hobby. That's all it was. I got to travel the world. I got to meet other drummers. I got to perform in some amazing places, and it was great. And during that journey, I met a lot of drummers, and I started as a ambassador for Premier Drum Company back in around about 2010, 2011. And that's where I met Keith Keogh, who was the head of UK manufacturing for Premier. They just bought his company. Keith was making some amazing drums. So we got talking, and we started working on a new traditional marching drum, like a military style, just, to maybe update the current model. And it's going great. And they closed the UK manufacturing down. So there was a lot of guys out of a job. And he said to me, look, I'm thinking about starting my own company up. Are you interested? I was like, yeah, well, come up and, head the marching division. And, so that was in 2015. We started that up. And then here we are nearly 5 years later, and it's booming. It's been an amazing journey. It's been a lot of hard work, don't get me wrong, but it's also been enjoyable at the same time. And for me, it happened just at the right time. I was just about to leave the Royal Marines, and there was about a few years transition, which allowed me to do stuff for the British Drum Company in the background. And then as it was all coming to sort of fruition, I was just about to leave. So it worked really well. And that's where we are today. Like I say, started off as a young kid, watching bands like everybody else does, whether it's military bands or pipe bands, and thinking, I'd like to do that one day, and then eventually doing it, and 22 years later, I'm then leaving that career, but still in the drum industry and still speaking to the same people, and I'm doing it as a job now. It's amazing. It's this dream come true. It might sound a bit cliche, but it's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's a drummer's dream. And when I think about your journey, it's really inspiring. And I think for me as a drummer that's been drumming for many decades, and I'm super passionate about pipe band drumming, what I love about your story is that you're managing the division there at British Drum Company, and you're a drummer. And not a lot of other drum companies around the world can say that. A lot of them are based overseas, many of them in Asia. And so it's really amazing to have someone who's on the ground in the UK, who plays drums, who loves drums, who talks drums, and who makes drums. It's pretty special.
I mean, there is a lot of drummers in the company. When we first started the company, there was 3 on the shop floor, working, building the shells, putting the kits together, which is where we first started. And now, 5 years later, there's about 22 on the shop floor. We're recruiting another 4 people to help out because that's busy. But it's not uncommon to, the bell to go at 5 o'clock and people just, down tools, but then get the sticks out and just start jamming around. We've got pads dotted around the warehouse, and it's not uncommon just for people just to have a bit of a thrash session and, You know, they're all as keen as mustard. They just talk drums. There's a couple who don't. We got a couple of bass players in there, but we don't really talk to them. But yeah, it's not uncommon for people just to, you know, even during lunch, get the pads out and just go through rudiments, or have you tried this, or what you're working on. It is what people, you know, want a drum company to be. That's what it is. It's, you know, it's drummers who drum. You know,
I love it.
It's great.
It's so cool. And the drum that you guys have designed, I just think it's kind of taken what we've known as drummers for the last 20, 30 years, maybe longer, and you've totally recreated something special. So who do you guys have helping you in the specialist pipe band drumming area of designing the drums? And, you know, what makes this design so unique?
Okay, well, when we first started the company, I had a list of people who I wanted to get involved with the British Drum Company. And obviously top of the list was Jim Kilpatrick. You know, right. I've known Jim since Drumming for Drinks in 2011. Well, I actually met him before that. He used to come do workshops for the Royal Marines, but it wasn't until 2011 when we first started getting talking. We performed at Drumming for Drinks with the Royal Marines, and you know, and that sort of friendship just carried on, and we used to bump into each other at either the NAMM show in California or PASIC in America, and it's, you know, we just kept in contact. And you know, there's no better person to help design a pipe band drum. He's done it before, he's got the experience, what he does in the past has worked really well, so there's nobody better to get to start on a whole new range. So we got Jim involved, and Jim was absolutely instrumental in the pipe band drum. What he wanted, what he expected, more to the point, how he wanted it to react, just everything from start to finish. And the one thing we wanted was a drum that didn't look like all the others, you know. And it's the same in the drum corps market in America, and it's in the pipe band. Everybody uses cage system, so when you're on the field, you don't, from a distance, it could be anybody's. You know, it could be a Premier's, it could be a Pearls. If you're in America, it could be a Tamar, Ludwig, Yamaha. You know, from a distance, you can't tell. So we wanted a drum that people could, from a distance, they go, that's British Drum Company. So we had to get thinking caps on. We came up with a few different designs. Some were a bit out there, a bit wacky. And we came to the sort of design that you see now, the axial, although it was a bit simplified. We were like, oh, it's definitely different. And it's, you know, because it's that different, it takes a bit of time to getting used to. And we were like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And we caddied it up in different colors, and we, you know, different fades and sparkles and all these different options. And then we went, yeah, it definitely works. It works really well. And because Jim wanted a bit more resonance on the bottom head, you want a bit more snare, we decided to put 8 lugs on the bottom.
Brilliant.
And obviously using the X frames, I mean, that was perfect, because that just made it possible to do that. You know, we wondered how we were going to do this initially, and then when we came up with the X frame idea, which is the panels on the side that sort of look like an X, so that's what we call them, an X frame. It just worked. It was like, well, there's your 8 location points. You know, we can do it. So I was like, right, let's go ahead and do it. And it's like I said, we had some weird designs, and I'm sure, you know, later down the years, these, you know, we'll do some sort of book or something, and these designs will come out, and people go, whoa, that was never going to work. So. But you know, it's the same when we start the company up. You know, you throw these ideas around, and we had all these different names for the company, all the different badges and logos, and you know, you get to a point where you think, yeah, we made the right decision there. Because some of them, when you look back, you just think, what were we thinking? You know, some of these names out with it, some of these badges, and so no, it's good. You know, so we got quite a prominent logo on the British Drum Company logo. You can see it from a distance, you know what it is, and it applies to the drum as well. As soon as you see the drum, you know exactly whose it is. So that was just one of the boxes ticked that we had, you know, a lot to tick, but that was the first one of a, you know, a drum that people could identify from a distance. That was ours. So that worked really well.
I love it. And if we talk about the name British Drum Company and why it's called that, I guess for me, as someone looking into the company and seeing how it's grown and looking at your marketing, for me anyway, it resonates with the fact that you're based in Britain, they're handmade in Britain. And that's what sets you guys apart, because a lot of other drum companies will outsource, if not the whole drum, they'll outsource many parts of the drum. So am I on the right track with thinking that the name resonates with what you guys do and who you are?
Yeah, it totally does. We had a factory in Stockport, and it was just a small factory to begin with. We started making the kits. Everything was all handmade, and it was just a really small operation to begin with, but we had big ideas. We knew where we wanted to go. And then we suddenly started growing, like ridiculously started growing. And, I've said this before in other interviews, and I completely underestimated the need for British made drums, handmade drums, completely. Because I was people aren't going to go for it. They're just not. It's easier and cheaper to maybe get them in from Taiwan or wherever, but I was proven completely wrong, and it absolutely shocked me. So I was like, oh, maybe there is a need and a want for handmade drums, and then within a year we had to move out of a factory into a huge factory. Like I said, we started off with about 3 staff, and now there's about 24 on the shop floor. We've just asked for some more apprentices, because we're doing an apprenticeship scheme as well. So that means we get people in from a young age. We show them how we want things to be done. They learn the trade, they get all the qualifications, and then they can move on as a main employee. And then we start the whole process. That's amazing.
So, I know as a youngster, I would have loved that myself, to get a chance to do that, Stu, as a young drummer. I know some of my inner circle drummers, one in particular from South Africa, that's his dream, to come and be an apprentice with you guys.
Yeah, he did contact me after that, actually. But yeah, it's what I would love to have done when I was young. And so, there is that option of doing that if it's something you want to do. But yes, I underestimated it. But yeah, so we moved to a bigger factory and we make everything there. We do factory tours. People can come around and see how the drums are made, whether it's an axial or a regimental series, or drum sets or snare drums. You can see the veneer coming in from the raw veneer coming straight through the door, and just follow the process around the factory, whether it's getting a shell made, whether it's getting cut down, whether it's getting marked out, drilled, assembled, polished, sprayed, whatever it is. And you can see it, follow it right the way around its journey, and then to the finish where it's getting boxed up and going out. So it's something we want to push out to people. You can come around the factory. We do tours. It's not like a closed door where it's all cloak and dagger stuff. We're openly open. As long as we've got time and the guys are free to show you around, then we'll take people around, and we've done it with Cause before. We've took them around and they can have a look, and it's great.
I think that's incredibly special. And certainly when I get back to the UK, I will be doing that. I want to come and see what you guys do and learn, because there's something special as a drummer to go in and talk about the drums, how you make them, then order your whole set of drums. Certainly as a leading drummer, I would have loved to have done that. Walk into a factory, meet who's making my drums, look at the materials, and then know that within a few months, I get my whole set of drums handmade. That's a dream come true.
Yeah, because we make everything from scratch, and we can stop the process at any point in the order process, we can adapt it as well. So we can do a lot of personalization, which people have seen on some of the drums that have gone out already. There's so much we can do, whether it's extra logos like on Stephen Shedden's, or name badges, or any type of finishes, and there is a lot we can do. And when it comes to, people don't know, the wood veneers, we can't even put them on a color chart, because there's that many possibilities. Which it's just endless. So if people come to us and say, look, can you do this? Yeah, we can do that. But we couldn't put them all on a color chart, because it's just, there's that many, when it comes to the veneers, there's that many options. The book could be about this thick. So yeah. And people don't realize that a wood veneer drum takes less time to build than a sparkle drum. So generally, if you order a wood veneer drum, you'll get it quicker than you would do if you ordered sparkle, because it's the process that goes through in the booth. You put the glitter on, the sparkle, you got to lacquer it, you got to sand it down. These drums get 7 or 8 coats of lacquer, so it's a long process to do this. So wood veneer drums are so much quicker. You get, personally, I think they sound a lot crisper, because they're not caked in lacquer. And it's same for other companies who have sparkle shells. I just think a cleaner wood drum with nothing on it, they just sing. They just really sing, which is why we want to, you know, push these out, because they sound great. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
you know,
I've heard great things. And honestly, some of my great friends started talking about British Drum Company before it became prominent in the pipe band world. So Tyler Fry, Scott Currie, Jim Kilpatrick, they started telling me about these amazing things, what was coming. And now that I see what's here, it's just amazing. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on, because I know a lot of drummers will want to know this. So as a drummer who was a leading drummer of a top grade 1 band, who also sold a lot of product via my retail store a few years ago, snare wires. I would always have issues with snare wires. Now, I've not had a chance to play your snare wires, but I wanted to ask, one, do you guys make them? And two, do you guys have a quality control process? Because I used to get in so many terrible snare wires. I mean, I'd order 100 snare wires to sell, and there might be 50 that were decent. So what do you guys do?
Yeah, we've got our own snare wires, and we've got quality control on every product that comes in, goes out, sorry. You know, before it gets boxed up, that's the last thing. There's a check sheet, whether it's for a drum set, or whether it's for a marching drum, whether it's just, you know, accessories going out to shops who want spares. There is a quality control check sheet, and does it have a card header? Has it got barcodes? And, you know, is the product right? Is there any faults on it? You know, and if it's wrong, or there's a slight fault, it just goes, it gets binned, you know, and it's no good. We try and promote this attention to detail quite a lot, and it's not until people come around the factory that we can really show you how much goes into it, because people just see a drum online, they get the drum, they play it, and that's it. You don't see what goes into it. So this is why we do the factory tours, so people can see. But yeah, we've got our own snare wires. We check everything that comes in and goes out. But, you know, I'm the same as you. I've had issues in the past, 15 years ago with companies where snare wires is probably one of the biggest things, to be honest.
100%. And the soldering's all uneven, and they're not evenly balanced out. And honestly, I don't think people realize, possibly from a sound perspective, just how important it is to have great snares, particularly on that bottom head that you talked about. Jim wanted to innovate that bottom head to get the resonance. So I think having great quality snares, as well as the new head setup you guys have developed with the less lugs, that's going to be golden.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good having a product that works at that part if it's not working on that part. You just, you know, everything's got to work. So, but yeah, the soldering, you know, I've had issues with that in the past. About 10 years ago, it's you know, I mean, snare wires aren't easy to make, don't get me wrong. So they've got to be right. So like I said, nothing goes out unless it's been checked in. It's the quality control we try and push more than anything, just, you know, because it's, you know, it's not good having a really good drum if it's not getting checked before it goes out, and something happens and it gets to the other end and there's a problem. So
100%.
On the other hand, our customer service, we try and, you know, if something does go out for some unknown reason, we forgot a drum key to go in the box or something weird like that, you know, we'll be on it straight away and we'll get it sorted. You know, we want people to come back to us and say, do you want, their customer service was really good. We had an issue, it was sorted out. The guys forgot to put a drum key in. It was there a couple of days later. So that's, you know, it's trying to get the trust in the brand, you know, for people who don't know who we are. And, you know, I know we're a newcomer. The company's 5 years old in September. A lot of people don't like change. You know, if you've been with one brand for 15, 20 years, it takes a lot to move to a new one. And, you know, I get that. I totally get that, you know. And I'd be the same. I was the same in the Marines. We played a certain brand all my life, and then we moved to a new one. I was like, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember Pearl coming on the market, 90s, in the 90s with Victoria Police. Harold Gillespie was one of the key pioneers there, and Reed Maxwell at SFU, and it took a long time for people to like come around to this new brand, and then people started to warm to it, and then yeah, it started to take off. So the one thing I want to say about British Drum Company though is that the people that you have promoting it are the best of the best. And I just want to ask you, who are your ambassadors? Because your ambassadors kind of speak volumes for the quality of the product you put out.
Yeah, and it's like I said at the start, when we started the company, whether it was Regimental Series, whether it was pipe band or, you know, drum corps, which is on the horizon, I had a list of who I wanted for each one. And slowly by slowly, I've just been able to go, yeah, we've managed to get them. And, you know, we had sight of who we wanted and who we thought were ideal to raise the profile of the products, and who would be great ambassadors. And so obviously it all started off with Jim. We've got Jim on board, and then over the time we added Gareth McLees, great drummer, Stephen Shedden, and it was like an explosion. We just once we got one, we managed to get everybody we wanted. So yeah, Gareth, Stephen, Rachel. Rachel's doing amazing. She's only young, but she's blasting her way through all this.
He's an incredible drummer.
Stephen Shedden, sorry, it said Stephen, Gareth, Ty. Obviously, we needed what we wanted is people who can promote each product. So then we got Ty involved for the tenor drum, Scott Currie for the bass drum. I mean, it's these big names that just promote the product. And then when we spoke to Davey Henderson from Glasgow Police, we brought him on board, and obviously that was our first grade 1 core. So that was vital to us as well. To you need a grade 1 core to start promoting your products. Otherwise, it's a harder slog. It's doable.
Yeah, they will showcase it and do it at a beautiful level. And if you look at that list, any pipe band drummers that are listening to this and watching this, you've got the who's who of pipe band drumming right there playing your brand. And I think that says a lot. And I know those drummers, they don't have to play that brand. They could jump and play with any brand. They play with you guys, and I've talked to them about it because they believe in the product, they love the product, and they know that the product is continually innovating. And some drummers have already came to me and said, James, hey, why has such and such a drum not changed in 15 years? Why has this brand stayed the same for 15 years? So I want to ask you, for everyone else out there that's listening, with the axial drum, is that you guys, okay, we're going to see that and that's all we've got for 10 or 15 years? Or do you guys believe in continually innovating?
No, we continue. We're constantly prototyping. We've got an R&D department that it's just non-stop. Whether it's drum set, whether it's regimental series or axial, and it's little small touches. If it's we won't change anything just for the sake of changing it. We'll change it if it enhances the sound, if it makes the drum lighter, or there's a manufacturing reason. We'll change it because it needs changing. We don't change just for no reason. And then there was the Kids for Cancer charity night in Northern Ireland. We'd had some prototypes out on that just to see how they were acting, and we had Jim playing them and Rachel and a couple of the other guys who were performing, Gareth. So we're constantly enhancing the products. So no, to answer your question, that won't be us for 20 years. And later on this year you might see some other changes with the axial, so you'll just have to wait and see. But yeah,
that's exciting.
We've got lots planned this year.
Good.
Yeah, we're constantly innovating on all aspects within the British Drum Company. You can't just sit on your laurels because that'll only last so long. You just got to keep pushing it, evolving, moving forward. Technology's changing all the time as well, so you need to move with that. And it's it's the same with branding and social media. That's constantly changing, so you need to latch onto that as soon as possible as well, and move with the times and do what you can. So it's no different from the manufacturing side as well.
Good. Well, as a drummer who's been involved in pipe bands for most of my life, I want to acknowledge you for being that company that's willing to innovate. And I know that it will force and encourage the other companies, hopefully, to step up, because we do need to innovate, and we need you guys. We need the British Drum Company as pipe band drummers globally to be doing what you're doing, and to have Jim Kilpatrick, who undoubtedly, in my humble opinion, is the best pipe band drummer of all time. To have him sitting at the helm, advising you, playing your product, testing your product, selling your product, you couldn't have a better guy at the helm. So well done on securing the who's who.
I mean, Jim wouldn't just be happy with just sitting on a product once it was built anyway. He's been absolutely instrumental. And even when we come up to him and say, look, we've been thinking about this, the first thing he'll say is, does it work? Why are we doing it? Right, let's give it a go. So he's, Jim's another one who won't just change things for the sake of it. If it needs changing, if it's going to help, if it's going to enhance the sound or project the sound better, or make it lighter. Everybody wants a lighter drum. So that's another thing we'll constantly look at, as long as it doesn't take away from the sound or the build quality or anything like that. So yeah, we're just constantly pushing. But the ambassadors we've got, I mean, they're great. They're all doing a great job. They're all playing our drums, and I've not got a bad word to say about them. You know, if you ask them to do something, they'll do it. You know, it's like, so the British Drum Company, this, what people don't know, a lot of it runs on Facebook Messenger. You know, all the directors, the company was built on Facebook Messenger right from the very start. That's how it all started. You know, we get together every now and again, but generally it was all on Facebook Messenger, and these threads were just massive, you know, and it's the same for the pipe band artists. We've got our own group, and it's just like a little family. You know, we're brothers and sisters, and that's what it's like. It's exactly what it's like. It's just a family of artists, and, you know, but they just get on really well.
Well, you've got an amazing drumming family there. Keep those guys intact. And I know that as time goes by, that'll expand. And one question I should ask you is, so if drum corps or drummers want to be endorsed by the British Drum Company, how would that work? Like, how would they become good enough to represent your brand? Because it's an amazing thing you've created. So what would someone have to do, or a drum corps have to do, before they could be considered to be endorsed?
Okay, so I mean, it's a question we get asked a lot, especially in the drum set side of it, is, you know, can I play your drums and I'll promote you and all the rest of it. But I mean, this goes for any brand. It doesn't matter whether it's us or whether it's, you know, another drum kit maker or another mod. You know, ideally, you need to be playing the products in the first place. You're playing the products. We know you're interested in the brand, and, you know, you believe in the brand. And, you know, on your social media, just, you know, hashtagging us in or tagging us into videos or posts or whatever. That's how you get noticed. Is this, you know, especially nowadays, the social media content. The days of, you know, give me some drums and I'll promote you on, you know, and I'm playing one show a week in a pub. It's, you know, it's you know, it's not how it goes anymore. So it's having the belief in the brand, playing the brand in the first place it's not always the case, but 9 times out of 10, that's a good way to get an endorsement through any company, is playing the brand, because we know you believe in it. You're fully aware of what we're about. So, I mean, that is the best way to get endorsed is play the brand in the beginning, tag people in, and that gets you on our radar then, and we'll go, oh, have you seen this guy, or have you seen this core, or whatever. And it's, you know, although we're a big company, we're still quite a small company, so we can't see everything all the time, whether it's drum set, whether it's traditional marching, or whether it's pipe band. So yeah, it's just, you know, knowing about the brand.
Yeah, that's great advice, honestly, Stu. I think people hearing that, it's so important, because I know from, you know, I've been in the thick of it in the competitive pipe band world for many years, and I think sometimes some of the higher grade bands, there's sometimes an assumption that, hey, we just deserve a free set of drums. But what I'm hearing from you, and what I firmly believe what you're saying, I really resonate with it, is that, you know what, show that you love the brand first and provide the value. Show us that you're promoting it, you're playing it, you're competing and being successful with it, that you're online and creating a footprint with the brand before we have that first conversation. And I guess, you know, it's having the cold call conversation. Hey, I'm currently playing another brand. Can you send us a free set of drums, and we'll put a photo up on our Facebook page? Right. That doesn't go down well in this time, because we want to see the value. You guys are a small company, you're growing, but you're handmade in the UK. So you cannot be just giving away drums left, right, and center. And I know some drum companies in the past have done that, but to me, that devalues the brand. And you guys have such a beautiful, strong brand, and I know you won't go down that route. So I really admire what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's all about, you know, this is why we have people come to the factory. They can do the tour, they can see what goes into it, fall in love with the brand. Because once you start playing the products and you beat the factory, you know, you'll see why. You know, you will love the brand. It's everything about it. The guys in the factory, it's just one big family. The people who are playing our products, you know, everybody loves it, and it's because it's new, it's different. This is not just, you know, pipe band. This is the whole you know, company I'm on about. It's just quite unique how it was all set up in the first place and who's involved, and, you know, it's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's just different, you know, and we want everybody to want to play the brand, and you go, oh, do you want to play British Drum Company? It's great. We love it. And, oh yeah, we've been playing that as well. It's, you know, and it's, you know, people get iPhones. People fall in love with brands. You know, people get iPhones. They won't change. They, you know, they will stick with that brand for life. And that's what we want to achieve. We want people to fall in love with it, that you just go, no, I'm not changing. I love everything they do. I love everything about the company. The customer service is second to none. Why would I go anywhere else? And that's what we want to achieve in the overall.
Well, I think you're doing a great job of it, and I have to say your accessibility is amazing. The fact that you and I can connect like this, that you're willing to talk openly, you're willing for me to fire questions left, right, and center on the behalf of all my viewers here in the Pipe Band Drumming channel. That's awesome. So if people do want to follow you guys and connect with you guys on social media, what's the best way for them to connect?
I mean, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We've got a media department, so we're constantly pushing out content on all them platforms. We've got a website, so, you know, the social media is just at British Drum Co. You know, nice and easy, nothing hard to remember, and just a general search on Google will find us anyway.
Brilliant.
We're about to update the website in the oncoming months. That's
exciting.
Another project we've got going on. It's just because the company's evolving that fast. We've got so much product that keeps coming in and going out, and it's so yeah. We you know, we're coming up to our fifth birthday anniversary on 15th September. So yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind 5 years. I mean, it's flown by. It really has, and it's been it's you know, some of it's been hard, but a lot of it's been easy because it's been enjoyable. It's doing stuff that we all enjoy doing. But come September, we've got a lot of new things happening, even though generally especially in the marching world, there's very little going on because of COVID. We've got lots planned, and you just got to keep moving forward. And, you know, stuff like this is a great opportunity. You know, we can't meet in person, so let's use Zoom or Skype, or, you know, I'm happy to talk to anybody, and it's, you know, we've got nothing to hide. Come around the factory. It's, you know, like I said before, it's not cloak and dagger. You know, come and bring your core around, or your core of drums, or your band, or whatever it is you belong to, and we'll show you how we work. And we know that facility is not available to a lot of people from other companies. So, you know, that's one of the bonuses we have, that we can offer that and other companies can't.
I love it. Well, what I'm going to do is actually, for anybody watching, first of all, hit subscribe on the channel below, but also in the description below, I'm going to put in all of the British Drum Company social media channels and their website. So please, guys, go down and follow them on Instagram, on Facebook, and I'll put in Stuart's details there as well, so you can keep in touch with him directly. But Stuart, I just want to say a massive thank you for taking the time, for sharing what goes on inside the British Drum Company. That was just simply amazing.
No, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it, and, you know, if you ever need me again, just shout and we'll talk some more.
I look forward to catching you soon.
No worries. Take care, James.